o'clock, Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. We'll go ahead and open this meeting at 6 o'clock. All three members are present, along with the town clerk. Let you get caught up. The meeting is basically to go over the budget.
Just a special meeting, right?
This is a special meeting. So we can discuss that stuff.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I don't know if you had a chance to review email, but I kind of put my suggestions or thoughts in there. And then if you guys want to change anything, I did want to make you aware that, and I gave you a printout, but we received an email from the county. It's right there at the top, talking about reallocation of some possible local income tax money. And I called the auditor, Beth Myers, and asked her about it. And I said, is this going to affect 2026 budget? And she believes that it will, but she doesn't have a lot of details. So I'm planning on being to that meeting, which is August 14th. I don't know if anybody's available from the council.
I put it on my calendar. I want to try to go.
Yeah, it would be nice, because if this affects us in any way for 2026, we're really gonna need to know. I did also notice that, you know, the budget, obviously, everything's starting. Normally with circuit breaker, we haven't had much of an effect, but when I went onto Gateway, it showed $6,000 for this to affect the town of Burlington for 2026. So if that's correct, that means that we're gonna get $6,000 less between the four funds for the 2026 budget. So that will have an effect on things too. So there's definitely some things.
So when the shortfall is going to happen in 2027, is that what you said? Or
I believe it's in that time period. We're hoping maybe they make some more legislative changes their next session to maybe tweak the bill for any corrections that need to be. But at this point, I believe that's correct.
what's the gross revenue like that we bring in total for the
Well, I gave you, I printed off a sheet from 2024 for the revenue for the general fund, which is our main operating fund.
Which one is that on?
That one right there.
This one?
Sorry.
Okay.
And so local income taxes for 2024 for the general fund was over $136,000. For the taxes that we receive, that's 53% of what we receive, plus property taxes will be affected. So at this point, that's huge.
It's like half or more.
Well, there's a possibility of, with the current law, and like I said, I certainly don't understand all of it, that towns under 3,500 in population can go to the county and ask them to pass a local income tax ordinance for us. I believe it's up to 1.2%, but what that translates to, how much money that is, if we can really go up to that level, all that is unknown to me.
That's like potentially catastrophic. If we're bringing in 255 and it gets cut in half in 2 years, we probably should figure out how to ease into that.
Well, I have high concerns. That's one of the reasons why in the email, Jim Higgins has helped the town. He works with London Witty. He helped the town when we were working on the town hall. He helped us secure the loan through REMC. He also helped us when we were trying to reestablish the cumulative funds. And he has a heart for small towns. So my hope is that you guys will allow him to come in as a consultant for the town with this.
So he might have ideas about what we ought to do.
Right, so I had talked to him on the phone. He said that he would like to come to the August meeting, but he's busy the first half of August, so maybe September. And he had said, you know, possibly for a half hour of his time and mileage to come here and just do a preliminary talking to you guys of potential effects. But he said also it's a little early, just to kind of give a preview, but it's a little early because they do have the next legislative session coming around next year, and, you know, hopefully there'll be some tweaks to the legislation. I don't know which way anything would go, but they'll know further impact once this next legislative session is done.
I think that's good. I think we should have somebody, but it just seems to me like if they do that legislative session and they don't really tweak it that much, so, you know, we're gonna have to make hard cuts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's gonna be devastating to some people, I think, you know.
And like I said, I don't know, like, you know, if you're over, right now, if you're over 3,500 in population, they can pass their own local income tax to a certain percentage, which is in that paperwork I gave you. But for the town, as it currently stands, you guys would have to, I believe, petition the county to pass a local income tax for the town, and I believe it's up to 1.2%, but some of the wording in there is a little confusing to me and how all that works.
Is it the council or the commissioners that would approve that?
I believe it would be the commissioners. But then the council will also be involved because the council is taking care of their budget for the. And then plus our property taxes will be.
It'd be revenue neutral for them if they passed a tax for us though, right? They're not giving us any money. It would be like we got a tax and then they just give us the tax money.
Right, I think it would be routed through them like it is now, and then so we get, when they collect the local income tax now, they give the distributions to each entity.
Sure. It wouldn't cost them anything though, that's what I'm saying, like, so there's probably no reason why they wouldn't do it.
Not that I know
Unless it wasn't
of.
popular, people didn't wanna vote for them if they did it.
Yeah,
I just don't, like, that's a lot, I can't believe that they would do that and just give us a year to figure out what to do about it.
and like I said, you know, and for me, understanding the full impacts of this, I don't. And I would need help, to have someone to help us understand.
Well, I think we should have that guy come in as soon as possible.
So are you okay if he, like, you know, he said he would charge mileage and probably a half hour this time is what he approximately told me. I don't know an exact figure of how much that would cost, but I would try to see if I could get him here for the September meeting.
I think that's a good idea. I mean,
Yeah. I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second.
Make a motion to have Warren Wiggins come consult for a half hour plus mileage. Let's have a second by Jim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So do you want to go through line items?
Yeah, might as well.
I don't, we can bypass salaries right now if you want to.
Yeah, that's fine.
Obviously, on the police department, I did talk to Shane. He said he was fine, you know, he wasn't gonna ask for anything different. The only thing that I thought needed to be changed just right now, because he got the new cell phone, it might need to bump up a little bit for that, due to the cost. But other than that, everything else of the police department was gonna stay exactly the same as it did for this year.
So you didn't ask for more money for the deputy marshal?
See, we had all that last year, like, they're not even close, which we told him they wouldn't be close.
Right. I thought for sure he'd ask for more than. Those are both the same. I have no problems leaving those the same.
And then I think if you go on down, okay, office supplies, that was 1,500 this year. Our main printer was purchased in 2014. And I had sent that in the email. They came and they did some fixes on it, but it's to the point now that if they had to fix something major, they're gonna have a hard time getting the parts for it. I did talk to Beckley's, and Beckley's had stated that we could get one that would be, we could get color and obviously black and white print, but include color, fax, so it could take the place of the fax machine we have now scanning. It's normally $3,000, but with the government discount, we could get it for $2,000. And then there is the maintenance like we have now. And so that is something I would like to consider, only because it's, in terminology of technology, it's really old. So I did bump that up to 3,500 to account for that machine.
That'd be enough.
Well, it would just be, the maintenance would come out of a different appropriation.
Okay.
So he gave me a quote of 2,000. I would hope that it would stay the same.
Okay. Well, we had 15 last year.
Right.
I didn't know the contract would come out of a different fund, so that's pretty fine. I think.
I'm trying to think. Most everything I kept the same. I took postage down 100 because I don't think we have any major mailings coming up. The other one thing I did bump was that I am not going to the conference in August, so that means that money will not be spent this year. Normally the conference is in June, but this year it's August. I do try to get as much free training as I can, but I will need to have some additional training next year, so I bumped travel expense up to try to cover for hotel rooms. So that can be discussed. I don't know if you guys see that or not on there.
I see.
So the spark light been good to deal with or not?
Everything's been really nice, it just took a long time.
Right.
I did take insurance down. Insurance was less expensive than what I thought it was going to be, which was good. So I took that down 2,000 for next year. Really, most everything else I believe is about the same on the first page. Minus the training or the travel expense.
Are we sure Justin's gonna stay at $12.50 a month?
He's not said anything different,
Okay.
so as far as I'm aware,
He's quarterly, I
he's quarterly.
Just so I'm trying to get my head around this, but the revenue is, the total general fund revenue for 2024 was $268,679 on the revenue sheet, and we spent $263,134.
Right, so if you look on page 2,
Yeah.
you see the 2024 receipts and the 2024 disbursements.
Right.
So we brought in just a little bit more than we dispersed last year overall.
Yes, that makes me feel like I'm about to go down a roller coaster on that. Because we're like right on it, right?
Right, so if we spend anything over what we get in, that goes into the cash, then that takes out of our cash balance. And that's one thing that when I work on the budget, so you'll have your estimated revenues, and then you have what you're asking to spend, and then everything comes together on this form called Form 4B, and then you put all the information in, and then it gives you an estimated, it's gonna act like you're spending every dollar that you've budgeted. And then at the very end, it'll give you an estimated ending balance. So when I'm working the budget, I'm always looking at that. So right now, we have been okay with that, but that is something we will have to look at definitely for future.
Yeah, it's so I'm just like I'm trying to visualize. I know we're talking about the budget this coming year, but for 2027, if the thing goes down like it looks right now, which it may not, but right now if nothing changes, it is going to go down like that, right?
To what degree? Like
Yeah,
I said, I don't know.
Yeah, it's,
So like, just looking at this thing, I'm having a hard time seeing like, where we could actually make it. Like what could we cut that actually to get to that?
Well, I did talk 2 things. You will see that other capital outlays has $10,000. That was put in there as a placement in case we needed it for anything. We have not used any of that. You also have the joint park board. So the park board has been told of this. Currently, the town puts in $40,000 and the township puts in $40,000. That's a huge expenditure for the town every year, and so.
That's 50 total then, with those two.
It-
We cut to 0.
80,
Hey, what was the other one?
40 and 40.
It's 50-50, so 50%, 50%. The town puts in $40,000 and the township puts in $40,000.
Oh,
every
yeah.
year.
I said like the first thing you said was 10,000, and then our contribution is 40,000, so it's 50,000.
She was talking
I was
about.
talking about other capital
Yeah,
outlays,
yeah.
that's at the very bottom.
Okay. Right, 10,000. So
That's
that
where I
would be,
came
we cut
from.
both of those to 0, then that's 50,000 off our budget that we just cut.
That is, but then that doesn't leave the park, then that really is detrimental to the park.
Right.
So I'm not sure, that's something,
That's what I'm saying though, like to get to cut 100 and whatever something $1,000 off our budget, I don't see how it's possible.
the general fund is the biggest fund it's the operating fund for the town. The way taxes have been done more recently, we have 4 funds that receive property taxes. What happens is, and I'll try to explain it as well as I can, the cumulative capital development fund is figured outside the maximum levy. So you have this levy, and that is divided between 3 funds. It's the general fund, motor vehicle highway fund, and Hume Fire Fund. As of recently, we've been putting more money into the general fund because that's the operating fund that's taking the most, that's where we need the most revenues. And that's what you guys have passed. The motor vehicle highway fund has other distributions, so we've lessened that in Hume Fire. So,
You guys understand what I'm saying though? Like if we have to cut $100-something-thousand, it's like, even we took Shane all the way off and we took the park down 0, we're still not there.
well, I think that, honestly, my opinion is, that would be a good question to ask Jim Higgins.
Jim, right.
Where do
Because,
we get there?
Yeah.
I think at this point, that's really preliminary. Now, obviously, my meeting with the DLGF rep is at the end of August, but,
Those are mine.
Oh, does your,
Yeah, that's right.
do they have any?
I just feel that's a good question for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think it's prudent for us to like start thinking about the possible scenarios because we have such a short amount of time to do it, you know, that we have some sort of
Yeah, 'cause-
inkling about what we're gonna do, you know, if this happens, if that happens. I mean, hopefully they pass something so that it's not so steep of a decline,
Budget.
you know, which is what they're talking about maybe doing. Is that what you're saying?
Right, so there is a replacement with that possible up to 1.2% that the county can pass, but
You don't know
what that number replaces, I don't
Yeah,
know.
gonna be,
Right.
I don't know what that number
10%.
is. I don't know if it even comes close to 100,000 or, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
So maybe Jim might have an idea? Maybe. I mean, we can just meet with him, but I do think it's something that we should be thinking about, you know, what we're gonna do, for sure. So we don't get to a situation where, because people are going, if we cut $100,000 off, the people are gonna be mad. And there's really nothing we can do to increase the revenue, right? Other than go to the county and ask them to pass the thing that you said, 1.2%.
Right, so the full effects of this, I do not know.
Well, the problem is nobody knows yet. They have ideas, but nobody has a definite answer.
It's my understanding it's a pretty complicated bill.
Right.
Is kind of the sense I got. So, and, you know, the statement has been made that everybody needs to do more with less, but my personal opinion is Burlington has been doing that for a long time. You know, we do have the new building, and most of that was paid for out of monies we already had with a small loan. So I feel that, you know, I feel that the council's been very frugal over the years. So on page 2, some things, the other rents was taken down a little bit. Organizational dues was bumped up a little bit only because costs are increasing. I did ask some more in training, you know, by law, I'm supposed to have so many hours every year, so that's a law now. So complying with laws costs money.
How much do we have, like, $500,000? Is that what we have in the bank? $512,000.
So right now for the general fund, the current balance, the cash balance is $512,000. And then there's a trust Indiana that's almost 80,000.
So we got a little bit of
Right,
cushion
right. And then if you notice on the debt service principal and the debt service interest, we budgeted $5,700 for this year. I looked at the interest, and because we're putting more toward the principal, you know, I think we can bump that down, and then bumped up just a little bit the principal. Obviously, the quicker we pay it off, the less interest we have to pay.
It looks like you cut almost $50,000 off of the.
Well, but what you're not seeing is the salaries are not included in
Oh,
there.
okay.
And my thoughts on the salaries, I mean, this is your decision to do. If there were any changes on any salaries, maybe that could happen on the wastewater side.
Like the salaries, you didn't include the 60,000, the 18,000, or you're talking about the increases, or?
Right, so, well, I don't have the council in there, so that's not in that's not added on.
Okay.
The salary for me through the general fund is now added in there. Then obviously, you know, your PERF, your FICA, your Medicare, and, so all that will add on to that amount. But that's always usually a kind of a final discussion point that you guys have on salaries.
You still did cut it though, so I appreciate that.
Do
It's
what?
easy, it's still less, the budget's less, even with those two salary line items, if they're exactly the same, it's 25 less, or about that much. This is 19 and 6 is 25,000 and change,
How long?
26. 26,680. I think that if we need like some of those things that you said about like the tractor and stuff like that, if we're gonna have to go super austere, we better, might as well pick that stuff up.
Well, and talking on that, some of those can come out of other funds.
Could you take tractor out of sewage since we
Well,
with it?
are you talking about the payloader? That could be taken out of motor vehicle highway.
Like I said, that could be.
Right.
I thought he was going to boom too or something.
The boom would be motor vehicle highway because no, that could be split. Because that would be trimming trees across town streets. And then that would also be trimming brush with the fence around the sewage plant. So you could theoretically split that.
Right.
That's not gonna hit the general fund. What we talked about only is the general fund
Right,
thus
that's what I
far.
was thinking, we might be able to split it out of sewage.
And then the payloader could come out of motor vehicle highway fund. So you're not hitting the general fund with those items.
That's good.
So I guess my question to you is, we're talking general fund, so what are your thoughts on that? And
So far, I think it's
I think
pretty
it's
good.
fine, yeah, I think it's fine right now, but I do think we need to start thinking about this, especially after we talk to this guy and see what's going on. We should maybe start thinking about, so we don't just get it up to the wire and we're like, oh, we gotta cut this and this, you know.
well, one of the tricky things too is that, okay, so my meeting with the DLGF rep was last week of August, I believe, but the public hearing for the 2026 budget is planned right now for the second week of September when you guys have your regular meeting. So that's what goes to advertised, and then the adoption would be in October. So 2026 would pretty much be set. And then what you're talking would be, what would be looked at for 2027.
Right. So no matter what, if it's because it goes into effect in 2027, right? As far as you know.
As far as I know, I don't have the paper. in
So
front of me.
if that was to go in, then it's all gonna happen in 1 year, but we still should have a plan, I think, in order to, do the best we can on that. I'm still a little bit upset about that. That's a huge amount of money. It just seems like that's not right. I mean, I don't have a problem with less taxes. I like, but maybe should have been over 5 years or something, so we ease into it, you know what I'm saying? And that's just speculation, but. Could we run the town on $100,000, $120,000?
Well, if you go back, so I have on this sheet, you can go back to 2022. 2023 would have had, 2022 probably would have had some town hall, 2023 would have had town hall in there, like building the new town hall.
Line 4.
I got rid of, and I have to go back and look at 2021 numbers, I don't remember, because I just do a 3-year review on this sheet. But we were at 190,000, what we spent in 2022. And with now having a full-time marshal, I mean, if you look at the full-time marshal salary,
And his perf, and his,
right,
all
I mean,
that,
that,
that's huge.
that's one thing that they were talking about, is that a lot of your, I can't remember the word they called it, but law enforcement budgets could be drastically
Yes.
affected by this.
Huge.
And it seems like
Public safety,
it has to, like, it has to, something has to happen with that one, huh? It's like, because we can't.
It's your biggest budget,
Yeah.
no matter where you're at, because you got your salary, perf, cars, and insurance. That's your big. Law enforcement is, EMS is gonna be your huge cuts no matter where you're at.
and I think that points to that email that we received, that the reallocation of lit that could affect 2026
Right.
from what we're receiving to move some of that over to E EMS.
I think we need to identify too, like, which one of these are discretionary, like which one of these item lines are discretionary and which ones are absolutely essential, like we can't cut them, you know what I mean? That would be useful too. I mean, what do you guys think, like, what if it does happen? You just go ahead this year and do it like normal and just hope that it's not as bad? I would say, if I was guessing, if I was betting, they will do something to offer some relief.
I would think they're gonna
Yeah.
have to.
People are gonna complain about this, there's no way that
Small
they're
town.
gonna.
They're gonna bury small
Yeah.
town.
This ain't the first time they've done this.
No, I know.
They
Just-
tried it before, it's failed. This time it has to.
It's just like the whole consolidation of townships and all that.
Well, that's what they're leading up to.
Right.
They want Delphi to control everything. We won't have a town board here if they have their way.
We'll have a fire department, we'll have, I mean,
Well, that'd be a mess.
yes.
Well, it'd be a mess anyway.
Right.
They've even come out a thing that combined all the town parks in other town and put them all under one person out
One
of
person.
Delphi.
yeah.
Huh?
They just want one person.
Yeah, one person will manage all of them, all of the
In
county.
one office. Only one person in one office.
I've seen the paperwork on that. It won't work. They can't take care of the parks they got now.
This is something that happened at the state though, so, right? So I'm gonna have to, we will have to talk to our state reps in order to do something about this.
I heard the city of Manhattan would come talk to us.
I'm sure it would.
AIM really lobbied, so AIM is Accelerate Indiana Municipalities, they really lobbied for replace, don't erase. Just basically stating that if you're going to take away from something, there needs to be something else to fill that void so that municipalities can keep operating.
Do you know that, what's his name, Heath?
Keith Van
Do you
Halen.
know him? Could you ask him to come talk to us?
I think he would, yeah.
I'm sure he would.
That would be real good, I think.
I mean, I know his dad better than him, but I know he. Yeah, I'll see if he'll come to the next board meeting.
That'd be great. Then he can explain, because he's probably sat in there and heard them all talk about this thing and voted on it some way. I think people need to complain though.
My guess is he voted in favor of it.
I probably. I just want to know why. You know, what are they thinking?
I don't remember what his vote was.
Yeah.
What they vote on.
I'm just guessing because it's Republican. I didn't even know.
I'm honestly surprised that our police vehicle maintenance was not more than what it is.
I saw that, I was quite shocked. As many times as he's called and said they fixed it, that was
This is
fixed.
broken, this is broken.
Well, I think the transmission was last year, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
But he had an AC something, and then he had the brake, with the truck, wasn't it?
Yeah, something that Fiddler broke, running up north. Forget what day it was now. Okay, you've done a really good job. You gotta be proud of yourself.
So for right now, for the salaries, you just want me to plug in the numbers that we already have?
I myself am fine with where we're at.
Yeah.
Where I'm at, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we need to change that.
Okay.
and if marshals aren't changing, so that's fine. So then two we really have to talk about are you and Steve. And if we give you a raise, can it be out of,
That's right,
Sewage.
if you wanted to make any changes, that would be my suggestion. Is
For
to do
both
it on,
of you?
to do it on the sewage side. I need a copy of however you. Steve gets paid out of motor vehicle highway fund and wastewater. I get paid out of the general fund and wastewater.
right, but if, could we just pay both a raise out of wastewater, or does that have to be both?
No, you
Okay.
can change it out. In the past, that's how they've, as far as I'm aware, you can do it however you choose to do it.
Okay.
So you guys want to look at motor vehicle highway fund then?
Sure. Kind of already looked at it.
So as of for right now, everything else is okay?
I don't see anything
I don't see anything.
that I would change.
I mean, the stuff you raised was minimal.
So really, as far as anything on the motor vehicle highway, the big thing that needs to be discussed is the community crossing grant. There were changes in the law with that. I've talked to Ken Smith, and he stated that they're doing the next call out in October. So I know that you guys had set some streets you wanted to do. I believe that the town's percentage is going to go from 25% to 20%, so that's actually a good thing. We have budgeted right now $100,000. The question becomes, the work wouldn't, there's just no way the work could be done this year.
No.
My question is if we applied for the grant and we received it, would the contract be signed before the end of the year? If the contract was signed before the end of the year, you guys could encumber money that you've already budgeted for this year, or it could be budgeted for next year, and if needed, an appropriation reduction could be done before the end of this year. It's just kind of timing, I'm not sure of the timing of everything.
But Ken would know how to do that, right?
Yeah, my question is just if they're doing calls for projects, okay, then when is the decision made of who gets, who receives the grants, and then when are the contracts signed? And that determines when the money needs to be available. My thinking is that maybe we can do an appropriation reduction for this year if there's an issue with the budget, and then budget that money for next year. And what the motor vehicle restricted, that money would definitely should go towards your match, because that's what it's for. It's for construction, reconstruction, and preservation. And then you also have in there, if you got the tree, I have not put that in there. If you guys wanted to do anything about getting that boom for the toolcat, So if it was 5,000, let's say, you could pull 2,500 of it out of the motor vehicle highway fund.
Right.
That would probably come out of street, alley materials and supplies. You have 7,000 there that would come out of towards that. But if you got that payloader, he's estimating, 5,000 tops. So you'd have to think about where that would come out of machinery, equipment and vehicles.
This thing is totally independent of the thing we were just discussing, right?
Well, everything, so motor vehicle highway fund does not get any local income tax. The revenue it receives are property taxes, and then there are state distributions that we receive. And at this point, I don't know of any changes to state distributions. But there's no local income tax money that comes into motor vehicle highway. And you can see over overall, what's spent out of the motor vehicle highway fund has not been very much. It's usually just if there's a project, if there's a street project that needs to be done. 2021, I believe, is when they did the Liquid Road, and that was over $200,000 at that time. But that was a grant, and the town paid a portion. So I have $100,000. I have no idea how much it's gonna cost to do what you guys were talking about doing. I thought Ken said something about 150, I don't know. I just put 100,000 in there in case.
What are you referring to? 150,000, what's that?
So, were you here when you guys met? I don't remember. You
I don't
guys
think
met
so.
with Ken, talking about parts of the street that Ken Smith is an engineer that we used for community crossings projects. So if there needs to be something done with town streets, you can apply for that grant, which means that we pay a percentage and then the state helps out with the rest. So there's some portions of the street that are in need of work done, and Ken came out and met.
And it's like a grant or something that we can get?
Yes. Yes.
So is that all already been put into motion to get that grant?
Well, the law changed, so with the law changes, the original call out for projects was gonna be in July, that changed now it's October. So, Ken was gonna try to apply for the grant for us,
Okay.
and then there'll be a cost for him, but it's probably minimal.
That'd be true.
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Anybody in your phone truck or street lights?
I guess for some reason I didn't look at
Actually, you lowered it, man.
Yeah, they should have went down.
Lowered it.
it. Yeah.
We still have a random light on Zook Lane, one of the curve right there where Elvin's garage is at.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'll come on one day and then it'll be on the next day.
So, now I can mark that.
Stop out and screw out.
Wow, whoever scrubbed that out. I haven't even seen him.
I don't even can say, maybe not.
The only other thing I'll tell you, and I'm not sure where this stands, but apparently the culvert that's by where you live,
Jared, yeah,
it's got some issues.
it's cracked in the middle,
Oh,
like
okay.
split in the middle of both sides. So it's kind of collapsing from the inside.
I know Stephen is very concerned.
If there's, so that could be a potential expense. You could pull that out of the cumulative capital development fund. I just don't know how much that would cost, and we have to look at that. pretty
We looked
closely.
at all that before, that's not a DNR ditch, is it?
I contacted them. I think there's something there, but
There is, but we were told, I was told before that it doesn't matter if it's a DNR ditch, it's on the town.
Oh, yeah, the town has to pay, I'm sure.
Yeah. Because Jared, when he was gonna level all that out and clean it in there, he's like, you have to do so much paperwork with DNR, and he quit, he backed off on it. Because you can't straighten it. That's what he wanted to do, straighten it out. They're like, you can't do that unless you fill this form, this form, this form, this form, and you had to appear before some committee, and Jared's like, yeah. no.
We definitely need to work on that then and get that fixed.
And, yeah, so I have concerns of how much that would cost. I don't know.
Wish we had Von Carmen.
So-
Kinda still do.
Yeah, we do.
He can borrow his equipment from his
Brother-in-law.
brother-in-law. The wrong way to gas leak and pipe. Like he did up here last time. And we'll do it.
I don't even know who you contact anymore.
Does Harvey do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, he probably would.
Harvey would probably be the first one you contact. There's a couple others, but.
I'm good with it.
So local road and street. It's kind of an extra fund, that doesn't get any property taxes, it does have some, state distributions that we receive. You can see in 2024, not much was received. It's kind of used as a backup if we need to, for local streets. And I just kept everything the same as what it is this year. And then law enforcement continuing education, that's staying the same as what it currently is. That's kind of a backup also. Police department would need something. Riverboat revenue, we usually receive a distribution once a year. That money is great because it can be used for any legal purpose of the town. But my understanding is those revenues are gonna go down as time goes on. But we just kind of keep that open if we need it to use for anything. So all that's on page 4. Okay, so do you want me to move on to page 5? So rainy day fund, that by ordinance, that is an emergency only fund. You guys did, so that's one of the things is you guys did move some money from the general fund into the rainy day. But that's for emergencies.
Who determines what emergency is? We do.
Yes. And there's an ordinance, and I can email you a copy of that ordinance. And then the cumulative capital improvement fund, you can see that last year we received very little revenue to that, so that's kind of a backup fund also, if we need to use it. And then the cumulative capital development fund, that's the one that was reestablished. I'll be curious to see how that affects things in 2026. It was to help get the rate back up and that levy back up. But this is money where if that new culvert needed to be done, that could be taken out of there. But when we built the new town hall, we used some of that money for the new town hall. So there's 47,000 in the cash balance, and there's 11,000 in Trust Indiana. So it's definitely taken a hit as far as, but I just kept it at 25,000. If you guys decide to look at that culvert and you need to do more, we'll have to look and see where that would come from. So are you guys okay with all that? Cumulative fire fund, you helped out with the air packs, that's from the 2024 disbursements. You can see that has been a very slow growing fund. You can see that there's only $8,000 there. I don't know of any fire department requests, so the budget's just kept really low, unless they come to us with a request and you guys decide to do something with that. Economic Development Fund, this is one I'm curious to know because that is local income tax. So this will go to, we will lose this. And as part of the other 1.2% possibility for replacement, I have no idea if this would affect us at all. So mostly what we use this for is you have that agreement with the Economic Development Corporation. That money goes to them for that. If there's anything else that you guys want to do to promote the town, that money comes out of that.
So the money that we pay them comes out of this fund,
For the Economic Development Corporation, comes out of this fund.
but we're gonna lose that money if this thing goes through. Yeah.
My understanding. I don't know that that money will be replaced. So that would be a good question for Mr. Higgins, in my opinion.
They passed the law though, right?
I'm sorry?
Did they passed a law?
States,
They actually already did pass a law.
yeah, Senate Bill 1
Right.
is what it was passed under. Opioid unrestricted, it's pretty, so far that money, they've only been a little bit spent, so that money's still there. And that's all I have. So you can see on the back page, one thing I try to do is on the back page, I try to just go through and show you now this was the budget, not what was spent, but just showing you a comparison of what has been budgeted for each fund over the past several years.
Which obviously we jumped this year because of the road money.
Well, part of what was bumped with for the general fund was going back to full-time marshal.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing, Steve was asking about, just not 100% sure, was if he would need to seal cracks. Apparently he's saying that he's seen a lot of cracks in the asphalt, but the question becomes, with the liquid road that was applied, can you get something that will adhere to that? And so there's just open-ended questions about that right now. So,
Thought about that.
well, and that's one of the things with, when Ken was here, I think that the problem areas will have to be milled down, which costs more, because I think Ken was saying that you can't just put asphalt on top of that, because it won't adhere to it. And the only other thing on my end was, the codification of ordinances. I have information, I gave you the quotes again, that's by state law. had the law, I think I gave you the law.
You did.
That's an expense we're gonna have to have. It's been needing done and it needs done. So whether that's figured out to be done this year or next year, I don't know.
And what is the cost?
Through American Legal, he's got this, so they worked, I talked to him and they work in conjunction with AIM to help, especially the smaller communities.
Yeah, that's not.
But he said it could be a little more if we add some of our own ordinances in there. He said 4,000 he felt would be tops, absolute tops. But when you do this, you also have to advertise it and pass it, so you're gonna have some advertising costs as well. The other quote was for a custom codification, and that one was $10,000.
What does it mean, codification?
It's kind of organizing your ordinances in a certain manner. And if you look on the back of this packet, I have the law. So I made a copy of the law so you can see and read that. It says the legislative body of a unit shall codify, revise, rearrange, or compile the ordinances of the unit in a complete simplified code, excluding formal parts of the ordinances.
Can't we do that ourselves for like way less than?
I have no idea how to do
Free.
that. I have no idea how to do that. I would not even remotely. I know I talked to, who did I talk to? They had an attorney do it. So then you would have attorney costs to do that.
I'd like to look into it before we spend $10,000 on
Well, that was the second quote. And then this American Legal Publishing, you see that paper?
it. Yeah. So it's-
That's the second company.
$1,495. Is that?
But it could include, there could be more costs by adding some specific of the town's ordinances. But his point was that he didn't feel anything would go above, like he thought 4,000 would be really on the high end.
So when you're done, do they put them online?
Online costs more. So you can have copies here at the town hall, paper copies.
How is this online? It'd be so much easier.
Okay, well, I think this first one's like a definite no then. Because this is half as much as that one, actually less than that.
And I wasn't, I had to talk to a gentleman from American Legal to understand that a little bit more. But the second one is, I uploaded all of our ordinances, emailed him, and then he gave me that quote. And that's for a customized, fully involved codification of only the town's ordinances.
And when do we have to have this done? By 2027? Something like that?
And there's not a date, it just needs to be done.
It's one of those that they made it a law and they have no time, who's gonna enforce it, but it's a law.
So there's no date on it?
No, but it has needed to be done for a while.
I mean, we need
But it's
to
a shall.
update, we need to update on it.
So that's what I have for the budget.
Technically, it's a law, so you have to do it within a year. It doesn't say.
We went in 2020.
Hmm.
We're in when did it become law, 2005?
Oh, I think it's been,
I don't know, I didn't read that part.
So we're right on schedule.
Something that they pass a law to make us spend money and then take all our money away.
there was a comment made when they were working to pass this bill. I called one of the representatives, and that was one of the points, is that laws are being passed that we have to spend money in order to comply with, but yet revenue is potentially being lost.
Yeah, I think it'd be good if you came in and talk to us.
I agree.
Just so we can hear the frustration.
I wanted to get Keith here too. But we're not the only community.
Yeah.
I know Camden's already cutting their budget a lot next year. Like a bunch of people.
Thankfully, we have a pretty big nest egg that we're sitting on, so we could artificially ease into it with that, but I know that's not gonna make you feel good. Right, you like to have a certain amount in there?
Oh, definitely. I like to have I prefer there to be a nest egg, because if something happens, obviously, you know, you need to pull into your cash balances, you need to have that cash there.
Well, really, Roger, can you like loan us a couple million?
Oh, yeah. Let me know, I'll give you my phone number.
Okay.
Do we have to pass a motion or something to approve it?
We never really have in the past. It's up to how you guys want to do, but, I mean, your official passing of it is going to happen when like you'll have your public hearing at the September meeting, and you will officially adopt everything at the October meeting, so that's your official.
You guys good? with Everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good. We're gonna have to talk about salary increase for Steve and Karen.
Yeah.
Would be the only thing.
And you have until the end of December 31st, to pass the salary ordinance. So if all these budget numbers stay the same, and if any tweaks are done with the wastewater, you have time to determine that.
I think that, do we need to talk about it right now? On camera?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We have plenty of time. This is something to think about. Correct.
Mhm.
The only thing I have is, I had a phone call from Chris Wright about traffic on Cutler Blacktop. At the evenings between like 4 and 7. He said, I set my garage every night, so I watch it. I'm not exaggerating. He said they're around 60 to 70 mile an hour past my house. So Hobbs was on last Thursday. I had him go down there and sit.
He stops.
He said he did not have any stops. He said he had a lot of brake lights. And he said that Jason everybody's house facing back this way. But that's something we need to relay to Shane and
Talk to
try to get his hours adjusted a little bit.
last night
Did you?
briefly.
So, you know, if we have to cut it big, what are we gonna do about the traffic then? Because we won't have Shane. He's probably not gonna stick around, work part-time.
You'd have to rely on the county for a while, but
What about that speed sign? Does it make people slow down? I mean, I feel like I slow down when I see that thing.
it does in a way, but
It does. It's a also new high number thing. People see it and speed up. And at 4 o'clock in the morning when I leave to go to work, you can see the too fast lit up solid in the car in front of me. I'm running 30 and he's running 60. And
Most
that's
people don't care, because they know it doesn't do anything. But in all honesty, if we had to cut police, county's gonna be in the same exact boat,
Yeah,
and they're gonna be cut.
that's what I
So
think.
you're gonna end up relying on state police. That's,
Which is not gonna be anything.
I know, and that's not very good in care for Carroll County.
What about a light? Or something? Could we petition them to put a light or something like that? I know it would like mess up the traffic, but
That's been an issue for how long though?
What, on Mill Road?
No, the traffic light uptown.
Oh, I don't know that the state would ever do that.
I think, I've been told that was an issue and tried for years and could never get it.
I don't know, they've talked about it, but it costs money for that traffic light. You put a traffic light up there, they took them down a lot of places.
Right.
on 26, they just keep adding them.
Put
One at the top of the hill right there, so if
We-
you're in a
we could-
semi, you drive the top of the hill, you're gonna slam on your brakes, and you're gonna take off.
We could probably talk them into a roundabout before we put a stoplight.
They've got the money over there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be, if we don't have the police, the people are just gonna complain about the traffic and there's nothing we can do about it,
Hmm.
essentially. Unless you wanna get in the truck and you sitting out there.
Then you kind of fall into impersonation, especially if you turn the lights on. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. All you can do is hope that the state changes their mind, fixes because this is the same problem with the schools. Schools are the exact same hit.
Except like you said, they don't have the local income tax.
Great. Sounds wonderful.
Good.
Okay, then?
I believe that's all I have.
You guys got anything?
Yeah, that's something.
What do you got?
Teddy Hubbard, I got a question. Who's the chairman? You? Okay, I didn't know who the chairman was. Who is enforcing the ordinances?
Marshall.
The marshal? He's got orders to enforce them all, okay? Who enforces the one for the area plan?
Area plan.
Yeah, you guys work under the area plan for the town. You adopted the area plan for the county, and it rules here.
The county ordinances?
Yeah.
No.
The county
We
area,
can't-
the county area
We cannot
plan.
enforce a county ordinance.
It's a county,
We cannot enforce a county ordinance.
who does that?
County. I'll double check, but never before.
I think each township that's in that, got to enforce the rules the same as they do their own ordinances, because they adopted them.
Because a county cannot come in and serve a town ordinance.
Do what's that now?
The county can't serve a town ordinance, even if they were under that plan.
Well, I don't care about what they can serve in ordinances over there. What I'm saying is, if what you used to, you having the area plan, who's your representative for the area plan?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, and we don't have one
Hey,
for the
do
town.
you know the
I would
rules
say-
and
I don't
regulations?
think we have one because we share with
Yeoman.
Yeoman, so Yeoman's represented right
Yeoman's
now.
representative is our.
Have they got any representative now?
They do.
Okay.
Okay. Well, see, you're still got to enforce them here. Who else is going to do it?
What's your complaint?
I'm telling you, you've got goats in town.
Yeah.
You've got turkeys in town. You got ducks in town. People's doing what the hell they want to do in this town. They're letting the weeds grow high around their house and their barns and everything else. They're not taking care, they're not enforcing. Now, our local ordinances we got, the marshal's supposed to be enforcing these?
Marshall enforces them.
Okay? Does he know what these are?
He's got copies of the ordinances.
He's got copies of them?
He has access to them, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, where did I catch him at? When did I catch him to ask him about any more force and stuff? I shouldn't have to ask him.
I'm assuming he'll be here tomorrow.
But I had Steve here out to my house a year ago, and he took some pictures of the neighbor stuff. They're 100% worse than it was. It ain't any better. Now, I don't know whether he come up here to you guys or not,
I
and
did.
mentioned about anything.
I went and talked to Shane too.
Huh?
I told the marshal about it.
Well, nothing's been done about it. It still is getting worse. The mosquitoes is terrible. The rodents are terrible. And if somebody don't do something, I'm going to start spraying stuff. I've already spent $1,500 and had those front trees trimmed. Cost me $1,500 to do it. But I had it done. And now these others, as you go in, he's got a mulberry bush that's hanging over the fence into my yard now. There's no reason for that.
Which neighbor? The one to the west,
East.
east?
You know, Luke's house.
Pearson.
Mhm.
That guy's, well, my opinion is too
I
lazy
meant
to
east.
do
I
it.
don't even know why I said west. I know.
Beg your pardon?
I meant east. I don't know why I said west. But
But there's no reason he's doing that run. I talked to him a year ago. I haven't talked to him since. He's usually
Talk
not
to him.
around. If he
Talk.
is, he's in the house. He never comes out, honey.
talk to Shane.
Beg
If
your pardon?
Shane doesn't do anything, get hold of me. And we'll see what we
But,
can
you
do.
know, it's just not him, but there's other places in town. You can't walk down the sidewalk, and there is a sidewalk partway down on the north end of town, on that side past the church. The limbs of the trees there are so low that you'd have to duck to get through. Now, I'm sure there's more in the town that way. Now, we had this a few years ago, and we got a lot of people's cooperation to help cut some of those, and we did cut them and move them out. But there's people need to be responsible and take care of their damn properties.
But
That's just that simple.
I assume Shane will be here tomorrow. You just want to have Shane call him? Or stop down there? Will you see Shane?
Yeah, I should see him tomorrow. It might not be till afternoon,
And-
actually.
And then along the Mill Road, you know, most of us, now there's one or two exceptions, owns the center of the creek,
Correct.
okay? The limbs, there's 3 properties, the limbs are hanging out and when it rains, it's even worse. They're hanging out, and if you ain't careful when you're passing somebody, you'll slap the side of your vehicles. Who's gonna tell them to cut it? Somebody needs to do it. That comes back to an ordinance enforcer. Get this stuff back off. School buses will be a problem, driving with the limbs hitting their mirrors. Where did the mills start taking corn and stuff? All the trucks coming in town and everything.
Okay.
They're gonna be pitching high heaven.
We'll talk to Shane. See what he can do.
That's the way it is.
But
But you guys won't talk to him, huh? You won't got the guts to go tell your own employee to do
I
something?
just said we'll talk to him.
Me. Okay. Okay.
I
But
said,
I just,
you need to talk to him as well, but we will talk to him.
but something's gotta be done, you know, and it's, if you say, well, they ain't an ordinance there, it's not grass, it can't cut grass, well, it ain't grass. But there's a nuisance ordinance, and you can do it under the nuisance ordinance, you know. Title, IC 36824 gives you the world for the state to do about anything you wanna do, but it tells you so right there.
You're gonna quote IC codes to me?
Why not? I can quote some more to you too, if you want them.
I can quote them right back too.
Is that,
But again, it falls to, you can go up and tell them all you want, and then you can write them a ticket, but the county won't enforce it. You can go to the judge.
On the bushes and
The
stuff?
judge will not enforce it, guaranteed. We've done it before.
Not around here, man. If somebody go talk to him, he can put the fear of God in him, he'll do something.
Well, you can't put.
There, but there's other places.
That's not
How
what the
how do
police
you
is for.
expect this town to ever grow and do any good? We got people trying to sell houses, they sell them fast, certain locations, some houses. There's no doubt about it. I know one back here, when it sold the first time, it's $139,000. This time it sold for over 200 because the property owner took care of it. And they're just a year old.
But
And you gotta
It's
know
not just
this, out
that.
here on Cutler Road, they're asking 3.5.
houses have went way up,
Yeah.
so it's not just taking care of it.
But
Price,
it is taking care of.
houses have went way
It
up.
is, so that's not good.
Okay, we can argue all night, Teddy, and it's not gonna do any good.
Okay, I thought we wouldn't. That's what I expected when I come up here.
No, I'm just saying, we'll talk to Shane, but I don't have the time to go around to every house and say,
What?
you gotta do this, gotta
You
do
should have
that.
took the job then.
Huh?
If you ain't got time to go out and police the town and do look at things,
Okay.
you shouldn't take the job.
That's good. I'm going to make a motion, we close this meeting.
Okay. But
Do I
I
have a
still,
second?
I said it, and I mean it, you know. If you can't do the job, get out of it.
Okay. Not a problem. So I made a motion, we close the meeting, Jim second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.